Hi, I'm Shivam,
Hi, I'm Izzy.
and this is PhoenixChat.
Where one of us can read.
Which one?
You find out.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of PhoenixChat. Today we're doing something a little bit different with a special guest star, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Elliot, curator of the blog doc, the fan blog for Boondock.
Hello, Elliot. Why are you here today?
I don't know, I just got kidnapped and it was like really dark for a little while and then I opened my eyes and I was here.
I am holding him at gunpoint while we decide to talk a little bit about Boondock. Considering that we have now talked about your full arc here, and yeah.
My entire character arc.
If you give in to my demands, you will be released safely into the world.
Yuki will not be harmed.
Oh man. But yeah, so now at the end of it all, you built this character, God, how many months ago was it now?
I think we started in
November?
November, oh shit. Yeah, November.
So like
is
4
that,
like 5 months.
6, 4, 5 months ago. Final answer.
We can count.
Yeah. So I remember I just kind of came up to you. I'm like, hey, I'm playing another D&D campaign. You want in? And then like you're just like, yeah, of course. And then like I think the first thing you started out with was like the idea for a bard, and then like from there I kind of gave you like some suggestions, like like maybe make it like way different from your last character. If you want to go into.
Well, actually, you didn't say that. I said that, and then you think you said it. I know you said, "Oh, hey, I want to do D&D," and I said I want to play a bard because I love bards just as a concept, and I'd never had the chance to like actually play one as long as I'd been playing D&D for. I'd made a bard in Pathfinder years ago when my brother was running Pathfinder, but the character kind of flopped in the team that he was in, and then I couldn't attend the campaign anymore because my brother graduated and went to college. So, no, I really never got to. I only got a fleeting taste of the bard, and I had wanted to return to the Devil's Waters ever since.
Oh man. Side question: after playing Boondock, how much of your vocabulary has been replaced by Westernisms like the Devil's Water?
I think it's always been like that, Shiva.
I've just awakened it.
Yeah, you just notice it now.
Yeah, so, and when you think of Bard, I think the last thing I think of is Boondock's character, so...
No, Boondock you wouldn't think as a bard, but, like, honestly, I'm kind of a nerd for, like, traditional bardic culture, and if you understand, I guess, what a bard's, like, traditional roles were, it makes a little bit more sense. Should I elaborate on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so, in traditional senses, bards weren't necessarily music players or even performers. They were storytellers, and in fact, they were really more of a land's lore keepers. In Ireland, and this is kind of sadly a dying art, they have, each small town will have their own lore keeper who remembers their folk stories, and it's a verbose, verbatim, retelling in their traditional language of the folk stories. And the language is dying, the art is dying, it's super sad, but it keeps alive the individual, like, folk heroes of each tiny little town. And it's one person, and they'll pass it down to an apprentice once they get to a certain age. And it's really just a way to carry on their legacy, and it really keeps the history of some very small parts of land alive.
Yeah, no. As soon as you explained that to me, I was like, just extremely on board for it because, like, you originally said like the idea of like a cow person bard, and I'm just kind of like, oh, haha. It's kind of just like a combination you wouldn't expect. But then, like, as soon as you explained it, you're like, no, that actually does make a lot of sense. Why Boondock specifically like is a bard.
Yeah, Boondock is a lore keeper.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, I love that concept so much. Yeah, so we started off with the initial just like Western folk hero, and then from there, the initial idea I had for the campaign was that there's 3 guilds, and all of them are like either lawful, neutral, or like chaotic. And so I think were you the first person to choose with lawful there, or?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think at that point, I said I want to play a bard, and then I hadn't ever like done Western tropes, and you said you wanted to make Phoenix Heart more of a culturally diverse place, and I was like, well, I've never seen Western stuff, and I watched too many Westerns growing up, so the brain rot kind of set in.
Oh man. Yeah, so yeah, we did initial like Western theme. Then how'd you start figuring out like Boondock's character?
I knew I wanted to have. I think the pieces I had at that point were a bardic lore keeper, Western, needs to be some sort of hero, and I think I had the race at that point, but honestly, I didn't really consider that too deeply. It was just more of a joke than anything.
Yeah.
So I think at that point, I kind of laid out for myself some really classical Western folk hero tropes, and at that point, there's like the legend, who's like, I guess more of a Clint Eastwood style Western hero who's just like bigger than life. Everybody looks up to him, like good dad energy. There's some more tragic Western heroes, and I'd be hard pressed to name examples because I'm terrible at names and titles. There's always like this kind of love of gray morality in Westerns, where like the heroes doing good things for everybody, but the means may not be so great. And then of course there's always like the villains, but they're never more than just a couple of tropes and very 2D characters. I decided to go with the middle one because, I don't know, I didn't think I would have fun playing a super, like, happy-go-lucky character. So I decided to pick more of a tragic one, and then I folded in some more. How far are you guys in? Can I do the whole like dead dad?
Oh,
thing?
we basically have talked about everything but like Boondock fully like lore dumping their backstory. If you want to go into that, like the
Just
rest
go
of the
lore
podcast
dump
is
on
going to
everybody.
be. Yeah, no, like we literally are going to talk about that like right after we finish
Oh
interviewing
shit!
you. So yeah.
Well, it's not. I don't think it's a secret at this point that Boondock's dad is dead.
No.
So
I
that's
rated
kind
the
of
mausoleum.
Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of a big Western trope. So I made that a core characteristic to Boondock, and then the rest of it kind of fell into place after that. Yeah, then you got this character who really looked up to someone who was that first trope of Western hero, like someone who's like larger than life, you can look up to, built the town from the ground up, lost that person really young in their life, and then is now upholding those beliefs to the end of the world. Everyone else be damned. And I think then I folded in a little bit of the guild, lawful good. That's when I decided, okay, this character is really hard lawful good.
Yeah.
And I decided, well, so far Boondock doesn't have a super solid personality. I guess they have like a normal personality, but I wanted to play a D&D character, so like, okay, what if I took that lawful good and I pushed it just a little bit further? Because the trauma's gotta go somewhere, and what trauma does is it takes some characteristic and it pushes it just a little bit further than it should be. So it's like, okay, lawful good, because that is what their dad purported, the laws, and that's the role that they filled after that death. I'm just gonna push that right up to the uncomfortable zone.
Oh man.
and then Boondock was complete, the oven dinged, and I pulled out my crispy new character.
Yeah. By the way, just real quick, I do just want to know, because you said like the satyr thing was like kind of a joke.
Oh, it was totally just a meme.
Yeah. I think like initially when you like first like said the character, you're like, oh, I'm gonna play like a character with hooves. And then you said the joke, like you really wanted there to be a joke in the campaign. Unfortunately, I couldn't like fit it in, but like the classic Western,
like this cow, like quote unquote cowboy.
I thought it was...
Do they have actual cows there? Is it cannibalism? Boondock eats a cow?
I mean, yes, that, but like the trope of like the Western hero riding into town on a horse, and like you just see like the hoofs like hitting the ground, and as we just like pan out, we just see like it's just Boondock walking. He's not the horse in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh yeah, cutting to you here, Izzy. Elliot had this idea and like introduced this character really early. What were your like first impressions on this like very unique bard?
See, I love when characters are made and they are not supposed to go together, but then they somehow do. Like, my roommate and I make unconventional D&D characters all the goddamn time. Like, we have a barbarian Aarakocra chicken man. I love him. Like, I don't know. I initially didn't know what to think about everybody's characters, because I was just still kind of, like, feeling out, like, how everyone is going to play and, like, all of this other stuff. So I didn't really get a chance to get a grasp of what Boondock really was until we started to play. And then I was like, oh my god, we're gonna butt heads so fucking much. And I was so excited.
Yeah. What's really funny is that they haven't truly butted heads until very recently.
Very recently, yeah.
Yeah. Well...
Tension.
I will beg to differ here, and I'll say that I think Boondock kind of butted heads with Juliet a little bit when Juliet decided to grave rob their dad.
That was outside of Juliet.
That's fair.
Boondock has butted heads with... Juliet has butted heads with Boondock, but Boondock has not butted heads with Juliet.
Yeah, that's fair.
The federal law breaking.
Boondock's just doing their job. Okay, that's fair. That one got pretty close.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you actually said, like, if Juliet hadn't kind of done, like, her big, like, heroic sacrifice at the end of this, like, weren't you gonna, like, really start to kind of, like, lay into Juliet, like, a little bit afterwards or something?
Not really. I don't think that would be the impetus. I think the convincing had already happened, and that was that Juliet had skill and intelligence behind it all, and that they knew that she and the rest of the party, frankly, were the only ones who could capture Legion at this point. Because they all have the knowledge that they need to track her down.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
But yeah, no, so, this whole big, like, Western arc, and, like, again, like, your whole Western arc was very made for you, but, like, I'm really hoping that, like, everyone else also kind of enjoyed playing into all those, like, Western tropes, riding out at dawn, that whole thing.
Everyone got a hat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for playing, Shivam, thank you for playing into my Kid Nation dreams.
Yeah, that was my inspiration for the town.
This is some deep lore, but when I was a kid, me and my dad watched Kid Nation together, and we like legit seriously considered sending me to it.
Mm-hmm. God, this is an obscure reference. My god, though. But, you know, I guess this is for both of you then. So, like, what were your guys' like favorite like Western tropes that kind of happened during the arc, and like did you guys like want any other Western tropes that were that could have happened or should have happened?
Izzy, you want to go first? You want me to go?
I wanted an actual Mexican standoff so damn bad, but with like maybe Boondock or Ma Boondock and Reverend Soul or like Mr. Soul. That would have been so fucking dope. However, we did take a god to trial, and I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's actually mine. Yeah, I agree, Izzy, 1000%. I think my favorite part was actually taking the god to trial. I know that in and of itself is not a Western trope. But
yeah, I was gonna say.
Like, this is my town, these are my laws.
Mm-hmm.
Just taken to an absolute ridiculous level.
I think it also showed a lot about Boondock's character, like the fact that they can literally stare down a god and take them to trial. Like, holy shit.
High key, when I made this character way the hell back, holy shit. When I made this character way the hell back in November, the thing I wrote, I like never fill out the personality traits of my character. I've started doing it and I really enjoy it. My only thing in personality traits is I could stare down the devil himself without a flinch.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, the scene happened, and it was like, well, this god appears and tries to intimidate you, and I go, no, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
You know, I think we even played on that too, because like I said like, oh, how is Boondock gonna react to like magical like frighten effects and stuff like that? Because like you're eventually going to like get hit by one of those because Boondock.
Oh yeah, I think we even changed the satyr ability. So instead of resisting spell saving throws, pretend that made sense the way I said it. We changed it to an ability called Unshakable, where I just can't be frightened or feared.
Yeah, no.
Which is like pretty similar, given most frightens and fears are magical. But
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I really like that one. It just like so much of your character is just being able to like stare down
it's
these
so
horrible.
Much tastier.
Yeah. But you know, and I guess we kind of did get a little bit of that Mexican standoff because like the Kieran staring down Boondock as all of you guys were cowering inside the house. Like that was the closest we kind of got to there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, like it was honestly just one of my favorite moments was just that trial scene because never in a million years did I think that thing would end that way. I thought here was the two options. Either Essen says no to the Kieran, and the Kieran's pissed off, and the Kieran spell save DC goes like way up, or Essen kind of like sneaks away and tries to kill Reverend Salt without Boondock knowing, and then Boondock's just pissed off at Essen until they eventually have some kind of heart-to-heart there. I thought those were the only two ways that was gonna go down.
Boondock says no.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Yeah, no.
Yeah, and like even further, like the whole problem in Hope's Landing was sort of kind of perpetuated by Boondock. Because they refused to take anyone to trial who they didn't have like absolute proof they'd committed a crime.
Mm-hmm.
And because they were doing like just shady business practices and like things that couldn't really be pinned down as a crime, they got away with a lot more than they should have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Yeah, I really enjoyed that because like, the moment where you like arrested Reverend Salt, like, that wasn't like something where it's like, Boondock's just doing this because like they're the lawful good sheriff. There was just like a personal stake where they just kind of like were hoping and praying, I think, that like this was the one thing that could finally bust like Reverend Salt for. Yeah,
they had to arrest him for murder, which wasn't the thing that Boondock wanted to arrest him for. But yeah.
No. Oh my god.
Like, Boondock as a person is pissed, but Boondock as, like, a moral core that takes up so much of this character can't do anything.
Yeah. You know, and then, seeing as we're going into, like, the backstory dump at the rest of this, do you actually want to just, like, explain your whole speech that you gave to the party about, like, why everything was, or why Boondock is a lot of the way they are.
Am I redoing the dark speech?
Yeah, that's
The
hell yeah,
sad dark
dude.
speech. Well, we cue like a bunch of sad music, and on the way out of Hope's Landing, and I think it's worth mentioning why Boondock chose to leave Hope's Landing, and kind of goes back to the reason why they spared Juliet. Legion was now something that had taken a chunk out of Hope's Landing larger than anything ever before, and was growing to be a bigger threat to the greater good, the greater humanity of Phoenix Heart. I think it's called Odysseia.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I think that's where Boondock put aside, okay, other people can take care of Hope's Landing for now. If I want to keep this place safe for the better future, I should probably go with the guild people. So as they're leaving, Reverend Salt is dead, Mr. Salt is dead, the trial has been had, a lot of stuff went down, Lucky's the sheriff now. They've been through a lot as a group. And Boondock decided to tell the party, like, what happened to their dad, because, you know, Juliet grave robbed him. And they kind of know that he's dead, but never really got an explanation. And Boondock's really only shared the story in part to Ma, and people have a general idea of what happened, but not the meaty details. And Boondock explains that, like, as a child and a young teen, they would go out on essentially bandit raids, where bandits would be either they'd take over a wagon, carting supplies to and from the town, the train sometimes, or there'd be people who were running in to, like, mess with people in town or shoot off or something like that. Boondock's dad would be alerted, and then he'd go out, and once Boondock was old enough, take Boondock with him and go take care of the bandits. So usually bandits don't, and criminals in general aren't looking for a confrontation. So when they see the sheriff, who's like a 7-foot-tall train, show up, and his like 6-foot-tall child wielding like sawn-off shotguns, they usually just run. And if anyone does get a little ballsy and attempt to do something about it, you know, Sheriff Boondock is the fastest shot in the West, and can take a few hits too, so it was really a low-stakes game. So there was one day when Boondock, I think we decided they were 14 when this happened, 13, 14.
Yeah.
They went out to do a call, and it ended up where they had already taken a wagon, and they figured that it would be worth the confrontation, stupidly, to fight the sheriff and his son. So, they got off in a standoff, and as that was happening, there was just a freak shot that happened, and it hit Boondock's dad just in a really unlucky location and killed him. And because they'd already been out for most of the day, and Boondock didn't know a lot of magic at that point because they're still like really young in their training, Boondock's dad couldn't heal himself because he was knocked out. Boondock couldn't heal him because Boondock didn't know enough healing magic at that point, or really any at all, and Boondock had no choice but to take on the bandits for themselves, and because they were 3 miles from home, dragged their dad's unconscious and then dead corpse back into town. And that was really just a really long, dark time for Boondock. A lot of bad introspection.
Yeah. And I believe you went on to say, like, you know, once that happens to you, like, nothing frightens you anymore.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. Like, I stared down that god, but that's nothing. Because once you A, see that happen, and B, have to stare it down for that long, you don't get scared anymore. You put that part of yourself so far deep inside that it never is accessed again.
Yeah. And that's also part of why just, like, seeing your dad's Guntar for just, like, the first time again once Julia brought it back out, just, like... Yeah.
That was the one thing that could touch that, because, like, Ma buried that in the mausoleum with Boondock's dad to keep all of that sealed away, because it just was not good for Boondock, and seeing that for the first time in those 6 years kinda is the one thing that could touch that part of their brain and bring a little bit of that back. Thanks, Juliet.
I thought I was doing it good. Okay.
Turns out
Guys,
trauma.
look, I found this legendary weapon that looks a lot like Boondock's legendary weapon.
I am stupid. Okay. I didn't do
Also,
it.
Boondock, why is there only 2 satyrs in town? Don't you have, like, a dad or something? Handing over the Guntar.
Boondock's screaming internally.
In a way, I think this was a good thing that this happened because it made Boondock realize, like, yes, I actually do need to step up and, like,
It made
protect the town
Boondock
here.
realize that they had to process that.
Mhm.
That and, like, on the entire wagon ride and afterwards, the thing that happened after that shall not be mentioned because of spoilers. It's all just a journey to realize that sometimes, like, even if it's hard, you have to process and reckon with things. And realize they have an impact on you, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, and you need to take that apart to be better.
Yeah, no. And especially really, like, just, like, because Juliet started, like, awakening that and, like, forcing those thoughts to just, like, come back to mind, like, Boondock was definitely, like, kind of plagued by those thoughts as they, like, rode out towards the mines, but then, like, seeing their dad again and, like, having their dad explain to them just, like, they deserve so much more than just, like, a town full of troubles and a Guntar, it really kind of just, like, helped Boondock, like, start, like, moving forward a little bit past that, I think.
Yeah, Juliet had a very specific skill set that really was helpful for Boondock.
Yeah.
Which that really built a strangely strong foundation for a friendship between them.
Yeah. The weirdest of friendships.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, like, there's a very real chance, like, if Julia hadn't done, like, all of those things, like, it's one of those things where, like, I just don't see any reason that you two would get along in any sort of capacity.
No, they'd be very much more reluctant friends.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so that was, like, the first, like, foundations of just, like, you two, like, becoming friends. Also worth mentioning then, and probably the last thing we can probably touch on then is the Guntar. So, going into Phoenix Heart, I definitely just, like, had the idea of, like, okay, it's more like a steampunky kind of thing, so, like, there's going to be guns in the world, the guns are going to be, like, pretty, like, good to use and viable weapons.
I remember when we started, you told me you want it to be more, like, scientifically advanced, and you did mention steampunk, and I think that's where it put the idea of Western in my head.
Yeah.
Because there's steampunk cyberpunk on one end, Western on the other. Is like, oh, I'll just send me to the countryside.
Yeah. Oh man. But yeah, no. So, because I think the first idea you had was that, like, because you really wanted your bard weapon to be like, or your bard instrument to also be a weapon. I think the first idea you had was a knife-o-lin.
Yeah, the knife-o-lin. Yeah, it was I was thinking, okay, Western, like, there's the fiddle trope, because every time I think Western, my brain goes straight to Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, Niflin.
Yeah.
Well, I think Niflin is what the bard I played Pathfinder in had to. Somewhat. Because I just wanted the weapon and the instrument to be combined.
Yeah. Yeah, so we eventually figured out, like, the club, but then you said you really wanted, like, guns in some sort of capacity, which was rough because, Boondock has no dexterity, and so basically just can't shoot a gun because they're ranged weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the thing we eventually settled on was, like, shotguns are, like, a very easy way to, like, use, strength instead of dexterity, because, like,
Yeah,
you definitely
I
need
think we
strength
flavored it because you don't really... I think it's specifically sawn-off shotgun. You don't really aim a sawn-off shotgun besides point it in that direction.
Yeah.
and especially if it's just, like, a souped-up one, like, i.e. in a gun tart, the kickback is what you need to withstand.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So, yeah, you gave me... And I think that's a good thing on DM, Give a short applause to Shivam for working with me on that. Giving me an option that I enjoyed the flavor of that worked with my character build.
Yeah. Because we had to do some struggling to get your character build to work, because just, like, you need strength, but you also need dexterity as a bard, but you also need, like, constitution because you're kind of a tank, and, like, charisma because you're, like, a main spellcaster, really.
Yeah,
and just, like...
yeah, I played a Valor Bard so I could not use dexterity. So then the club and the sawn-off shotgun became my weapons.
Yeah.
All the same weapon.
Yeah,
and then, I dumped every smart stat. So Boondock has a -1 in Dex, Wisdom, and Intelligence.
Oh my god. Oh, man.
but they're charismatic, and that's important for my my bard Western hero shtick.
Yeah.
All that matters.
It still shakes me that Juliet has the fucking highest intelligence in the fucking group.
What's her wisdom?
I don't know. Hold on, that might
I think it's -1. Because that would make sense.
But yeah, it was just one of those things where, like, we really needed to kind of struggle with the build, because, like, I really wanted you to be a strength-based character too, because, like, literally everyone else was really good at dexterity, and we had no one at strength. And, like, as hilarious as it would be to just, like, put a big rock in your guys' way and watch as all of you guys struggle and cry because you can't lift it, we needed one character to at least be just, like, really good at. And also, like, you have that expertise in athletics too, so, like...
Yeah, I made Boondock the beefiest as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I think my favorite character scene, I guess outside of Hope's Landing, was when we were fighting the Minotaur. I loved that so much. Boondock locks horn with the Minotaur, and with my, like, +9 athletics at the time, just absolutely grapples the shit out of it, and then I just push it out the window.
Yeah. Just this absolute brickhead.
This is so it was so, like, quintessential Boondock.
Yep. Oh, and one last thing. Comparatively so, you've been in a D&D campaign with me before, and you also have, like, just a whole bunch of other OCs, so how is Boondock compared to all the other OCs you make? Because, like, compared to your last D&D character, I was shook when you, like, started to roleplay Boondock for the first time. If you want to explain a little more about that.
Yeah, let me give you the dissertation. So, I've been doing, anything from, like, text-based roleplays, the Pathfinder, D&D 3.5, the D&D 5e, which... someone will sue me for this, but is my favorite so far. And, I've been doing that since I was, like, 11. So at least a decade now. Mostly text-based, so they're freeform. Boondock themselves is not super outside of the realm of what I've played. With my D&D characters, I have been trying to, like, try out more realistic but a little bit out there personalities.
Mhm.
Which is where the hyper lawful goodness comes from. And I usually will niche them. I'll ask other people to make their characters first, and then fill up whatever niche isn't there. And that way I found that I have more fun playing a character who fills a niche than one who is just a personality that I wanted to play. Because it gives better options for interaction.
Mhm.
Yeah, they are. I usually don't play lawful good characters, so they are a little bit outside of what I've usually played. I remember when I was the first couple of sessions, when Shivam would ask me like, "Hey, what do you want to do for your arc? What do you want to do for this?" Like, he would give me like what his plans were, and I'd be like, "No, that doesn't fit Boondock's personality." Because he was thinking of it as like a chaotic character. It was so weird. I was like, no, that won't work. We got around to it pretty quickly, but it was funny to see. Because the last character I'd played was chaotic evil.
To be fair, he started off as chaotic good, and then he went to chaotic neutral, and then at the end we're just like, I guess he's chaotic evil now, isn't he?
Yeah. He was an extremely chaotic character. Just really just lived by his own rules. Didn't want to take flack from anybody. Wanted to do his own thing and not really live under anyone's guidance or help. So Boondock's really a hard turn from that. And I guess he's a little bit outside of what I've usually played. I have most of the characters that I play are chaotic, just because that's like the fun thing, I guess. But playing a lawful character so far it's been really fun. I like it, and I might make a couple more in the future.
Yeah.
But, being able to switch between two extremes, especially one after the other for characters, I think is more fun because I don't get used, quote unquote, to a niche.
Yeah. But yeah, no, those first couple of sessions, just Two Boys shook me because like, it wasn't even just like your previous D&D character. I think, and this is a bit of a call-out post here. All of your previous OCs that I've seen, and even some like your OCs after Boondock, have all been chaotic twinks.
Not all of them are twinks.
Most.
Percentage. Give me a percentage right now. It's over 50. It's definitely over 50.
I don't. How do I give you a percentage?
Give me an estimate right now, a percentage of how many of your characters are twinks.
Well, okay, the girls aren't twinks. Because that's not how this works. Is Demonge a twink?
Absolutely.
No. I don't think Sparrow was a twink.
Okay, fair enough.
Sparrow gives me himbo vibes.
Yeah, Sparrow's himbo, but...
Squinting, Sparrow's not a twink.
We still definitely have the chaotic flavor, though, for all of those characters you've listed off.
Well, yeah, because they're all the same character.
Yeah. Spoilers. But yeah, no, this was so violently different from everything you've done.
Oh, yeah, I
just,
think you're
like,
right.
It was really just interesting to see you get into character, and also just like...
Tilly's not a twink. Tilly's a gremlin.
But it was interesting to just kind of see you get into the minds of a lawful character, but also like a lawful character that you wanted to play. I think like with a lot of like lawful characters, they're hard to play because like people assume lawful good is like super nice, super chill, super like fun, happy-go-lucky character.
That's something I kind of wanted to talk about. You've awakened this memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because I saw Squiddy in the last campaign, who's a very textbook lawful good character, and I've always loved exploring how alignment is described in D&D, and the good is essentially the outcome, and the lawful chaotic is the means. And, you know, the laws in Hope's Landing are very strict, but they serve the good of the people, so anyone who enforces the laws of Hope's Landing is just about by definition lawful good. But if you look at Boondock, and if you have a certain view of the world, you would not call Boondock good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Boondock has
murdered people, shot off
murdered several people underneath the guise of the law.
Yeah, shot off someone's hand, strangled monsters. Yeah, no, there's been... Yeah, you definitely played into the trope of, like, good is not nice. Where, like, yeah, Boondock plays into their own morality and, like, they're doing things for the greater good, but also, like, they've done some not nice things.
Yeah, because in Hope's Landing, because it was such a difficult to live in place, the consequence for large theft and murder, well, obviously murder, but large theft was execution. And Boondock took that to heart, and I don't know if you've mentioned this, but Titus's dad in Deep Lore was executed by Boondock and several other people. And Boondock knows, like, if you're breaking the law, it happens right here, right now. And, like, even on that train, like, if Titus is threatening to murder Boondock, Boondock is going to take off that hand. Just eye for an eye.
Yeah, no. Like, and we even straight up said, like, Boondock has a villain backstory, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Boondock was, like, one bad decision from just straight up becoming a villain.
Yeah.
And they even have the black hat.
Yeah, they have the black hat of every villain in Western Coast, but, like, also in, like, 3 characters' views, like, the 3 assassins on the train, you were literally, like, the villain of their stories. Yeah, and that was really interesting to play around with, the idea of just, like, lawful and, like, good and morality, and, like, because, like, you know, again, you're very clearly lawful good, but also, like, twisting it just to make sure, like,
it's lawful good with its arm pinned behind its back and pushing upwards.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, I guess we can wrap things up then with just like, do you have any sort of like closing comments or overall thoughts on the arc? Your thoughts on like how Boondock has blossomed from their perfect little seed there?
Perfect. Did I miss any of the questions? Why did you make him so fucking tall?
Yeah, okay. Real quick, why did you make him so tall?
That honestly, I think that was just part of the trope.
That's fair.
Because, you know, like, larger than life, quote unquote, okay. We'll make that literal. I know in, like, every Western, they always make sure that the protagonist is, like, the tallest dude.
Yeah.
Even if they have to, like, pitch the camera for every shot.
Yeah. The Western trope just your brain rot. It would be fun.
Every trope, all of them.
Yeah.
Izzy, did you have any more questions? I guess I don't want to spoil anything, so.
At the end of this arc, where do you think Boondock's stances are with the rest of the party, like the characters? Yeah.
Oh man. Let me write down everyone's names so I just tag in order and don't forget anyone.
There's only 4 other people in this party.
I'm really stupid, Izzy. Wait, fucking.
Did you misremember someone? Okay.
So, Juliet's
Morgan.
probably. Oh, what was that?
Over here. So first off, Juliet.
Yeah, not Izzy. Juliet's probably the most pertinent of these. Boondock doesn't like Juliet. Boondock has a begrudging friendship with Juliet, but knows that she's important. And I guess before the cart ride out, which is probably the next thing that you guys are going to cover, Boondock knows there's more to her. There's a reason why she acts the way she does. And that's just the lore keeper in Boondock being like, okay, there's definitely stuff behind this. Boondock thinks of her as young and naive, but good-hearted.
That's fair. Even though she, robbed your dad's grave, broke a law.
Yeah.
all the fun shit, you know.
Moving on to hopefully an easier one. Hops.
Hops? You're skipping around my list, Shivam.
Yeah. What are you gonna do about it?
You fool. Honestly, Boondock kind of sees Hops as a pet, which sounds awful.
God!
But, like, I guess she was really useful with, like, getting up to the top of the building and Phoenix Heart, and she has some interesting insights, but Boondock thinks she's there just to be there, and because, like, she was just kind of swept up into Hope's Landing, because they were sent out pretty fast and, like, just joined the group because she wanted to go on an adventure.
Mhm.
I don't think they understand why Hops wants to go on an adventure, and I still don't think they do. But, yeah, Boondock doesn't have parental instincts in any way, shape, or form, and isn't ready to teach a child anything. So they just kind of either ignore Hops or interact with her on a weird pseudo-sibling level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go with Morgan.
Morgan. Boondock absolutely adores Morgan. Boondock thinks of Morgan as a little brother.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit like Juliet, thinks that he's young and naive, but has a really good heart, and really sees him as very impressionable and needing like some guidance in life. But he's smart and he's well trained, which is what Boondock likes. He knows what he's doing and knows how to get it done.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, Essen.
Essen. Ooh, I guess there's two parts of Essen that Boondock
Yeah.
knows. There's like, and this is as of after Hope's Landing, so before the Giga Chad moves, if I may do a spoiler. As Essen's personality alone, Boondock probably thought Essen was either like a researcher or a wizard at first.
See, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, because like Essen's abilities look kind of like spells.
And have the flowy
And-
robes.
And he acts very kind of nerdy and researchy. So Boondock respects that, and
We're out here calling Essen a fucking nerd.
yeah, Boondock respects that and will thinks of him as like a value part of the team because he can answer a lot of social questions, because he does know quite a bit of like general lore about the larger area of Odyssia. But he really doesn't know Essen personally too well at that point. He's super sus because of the Kieran. But Boondock doesn't really know why that all happened or how that all happened. I think at this point they're just kind of assuming that there's some sort of like curse or possession happening. But Boondock is extremely wary of the Kieran. I guess they respect its intelligence and drive, but that respect only extends to the point where the Kieran respects their laws, because I think the Kieran is lawful neutral, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're both of them are extremely hardline lawful, and Boondock essentially laid out the law for this thing. I will respect your laws if you respect my laws and their stance. And I think that's where they've attained a mutual respect.
Yeah.
It's a very legalistic relationship.
And yeah.
But I think
Oh,
that's everything.
Yep. Izzy, do you have any more questions then?
Nope.
Alright.
Cool.
Yeah. Elliot, do you have any closing thoughts then?
I love this campaign. It's great. Shivam really makes us think. I love D&D, especially 5e being a kind of like rules light, but has enough rules for you to know what to do in every situation.
Mm-hmm.
As a vehicle for roleplay. And honestly, like, if I may become a little meta here, I've noticed D&D get popular, and it's now just the replacement for forum roleplay.
Yes.
Every shameful, closeted forum roleplayer now plays D&D.
Someone said this opinion earlier. Westmarch's servers, where you basically don't roll dice, are basically just like roleplay servers, but you don't want to say you're in a roleplay server.
No, for real. No. And being one of those people myself, I will throw everyone else under the bus with me.
Yeah. Look at them.
Fools.
Oh man, so, yeah, thank you so much for joining us and saying all of your thoughts on this. It's been really, really great.
Yeah, thank you. This is fun. Can I plug my social media?
Yeah, no, please do. And your Boondock Simp blog.
My Boondock Simp blog. I have an Instagram. It's called Blogdock. Spelled exactly how you think it is. And I post art, which includes all of the Boondock art, and some other D&D stuff I'm in, and some game development stuff I'm working on. That's on my Tumblr, and it's Brainworms, spelled BraneWorms. Thank you for letting me plug. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
Alright, so here we are back again talking about what actually happened in the episode after that whole big interview with Elliot. Again, thanks to shouts to him for joining us. But yeah, so as the party kind of like went out in from Hope's Landing, I believe this is the point where we had our backstory dump. So, yeah, Izzy, if you want to kind of explain a little bit of how the party like came to kind of explaining their backstories.
Yeah, so basically, Boondock was like, well, since I'm joining all of you with this whole like Legion thing, I feel like it's fair for you guys to know why I am the way I am. And as Elliot explained, basically he had to drag their dead dad 3 miles in that fucking desert, and we're like, what the fuck? Okay.
I will also note, Elliot didn't actually explain this part of the backstory to me either. That was also a surprise to me with you guys.
Oh shit.
He just fucking dropped that on me, huh?
All of us sad. Ouch. Okay. Nice. And then Essen went next, like, okay, if we're gonna start spilling backstories. Essen didn't really say that much.
Yeah, I think
he just explained. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think he just kind of explained that he was from a city called Lenore, which is basically like the city of the gods. And he kind of just like explained a little bit about like how like when he was young, basically he wasn't allowed to see his mother anymore after a certain time because he got brought up to God knows where to do God knows what. But he was like some kind of like a person in that town, and he was assigned for something. They kept the details vague. Yeah, with Essen's backstory, like the player's been keeping it kind of like a little bit secretive, where like all the backstory is actually like there and pretty much explained, but just like the actual nitty-gritty details of what exactly happened is still secret.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I think it was Juliet's turn next, wasn't it?
So she was like, alright, if we're telling fucking secrets, then I'll tell you mine. My name's actually not Juliet. And then fucking Boondock's like, oh my god, that arrest warrant was null and void because it's not a real thing.
You know, technically speaking, that's fraud.
It is fraud. It is indeed fraud.
But I'm not the sheriff anymore.
So Juliet's real name is Bliss Haejung. And they're like, what the fuck?
And then Essen immediately, right after that, just immediately is like, Essen's my third name. Like...
Yeah, I'm like, damn, all of you guys get to do dramatic backstory reveals, and everyone's like, oh, get shit on, Juliet, fuck you.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I fucking love that Essen felt like he had to one-up you!
When doesn't
It was
Essen
so
fucking
unnecessary.
one-up me, okay? Seriously.
But Essen's just like, yeah, it's my third name, get fucked, idiot.
Yeah, like,
Not
thanks,
that
guys.
last part, but... Then Boondock immediately chimes in and is just like, Boondock's my
Boondock.
name, just the one. Morgan immediately chimes in afterwards, hi, I'm Morgan. Hop's just vibing.
Yeah, Hops is vibing in her barrel.
Yeah. At this point, like, Juliet and Izzy are both getting more flustered, because, like, please, can I just, like, can I speak my truth here? Can I explain my traumatic backstory at you guys, if you wouldn't mind?
And they're like, ah, memes. I'm like, thanks. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And no, it just gets worse from here, too. Because I was like, yeah, I'm a runaway princess. And they're like, oh, that makes fucking sense. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean that makes fucking sense?
Yeah, they're just kind of like, oh. And then Essen just like, that's why you say, like, damsel a lot and stuff like that. You don't want to be that. And then, like, you were like, okay, first of all, it's true, but also, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. That's all they got from me, because I was like, well, fuck you guys. I'm gonna just sit and drink.
So Juliet starts pouting and drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Essen goes into a bit more detail about his backstory and kind of just like explains that they used to hold like a position of power in their city. I don't remember if this was the exact moment they said that they were a general in the city, but I believe it was. It might have been a bit later. Yeah, and after Essen explained, I believe like Juliet kind of explained then too, like oh yeah, no, my hometown was absolute fucking shit. I hated my mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to explain the exact statement you said?
I don't even remember the exact statement I said. I said my mom was a shithead, I think. I don't remember what I said, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh. There wasn't any like fun things to do in your village. There was
like
yeah. There's no bars, there's no brothels. And Hops immediately as soon as you said the word brothel, turns to you, Juliet, and says, what's a brothel?
And fucking Essen, before I said a goddamn word, Essen covered my mouth and was like, nothing important, they're boring, nothing. Yeah. Boondock chimed in and said it was soup, and then Morgan was like, it's a place where people fuck.
Yes!
And I was like, Hops, oh my god.
Hops looked at like directly at Morgan and is like, what do your eyes tell me, Morgan? And Morgan just immediately was just like, yeah, brothels are places where people fuck.
I lost my shit, dude. It was so fucking funny.
Everyone started losing their goddamn minds, and at that point, just like, as Hops immediately was like, wait, I know what that is. My mom told me that you're gonna get tadpoles if you do that. You shouldn't do that.
Making all of us, like, bust out even fucking more, because we didn't know what the fuck was gonna come out of her mouth.
Oh my fucking god.
It was so good. So good.
So Hops fucking, like, crosses her arms and just like, no tadpoles, you can't.
Yeah.
My mom was ruined by all of her tadpoles. She said something like that, didn't she? Like, my mom used to be like so
like
full of life.
Yeah, I was gonna say she wasn't the frog I like she used. She could have been because of all these tadpoles or something like that.
Oh my
so
god,
good.
it was the stupidest scene. As you guys just like started fucking like buzzing out laughing after that, you guys continue on into the desert. Yeah, you guys continue on for a day and then like have a nice little like camp out. Yeah. Everyone
There's
takes their
never
watches
such a
and
nice
like
little
that.
camp out, Shivam. Unless you don't have something planned.
Even the ones where I don't have something planned, you guys are just like panicked and on your guard and just like, no, I know you said my perception check doesn't reveal anything, but what if I check things anyways?
Yeah. I wonder how we are like that now, Shivam.
That's wild, it's weird.
Wow.
Yeah, so, we go through, like, the order, and, like, the first person camping out, like, fails their perception check, and, like, I think it was Boondock, and they said, like, yeah, nope, you have no idea how long it's been since you've looked at the horizon, but as far as you know, nothing's bad has happened. I think, like, Morgan or Juliet, or no, not Juliet was passed out, so it was Morgan next. Morgan also fails immediately. I'm like, okay, as far as you all know, it's also chilling good and fine, everything's fine. And then, Essen went. And Essen also failed their perception roll. And I'm like, okay, this just feels bad for you guys, but at least the thing it was based on wasn't based on the perception checks. Because I then told Essen to roll me a Constitution saving throw. And of course the party's in just like full alert at this point, like, holy shit, it's happening. Essen rolls a Constitution saving throw, fails, and I describe as, they begin to cough up blood and lose a D4 of their maximum health.
Which was one. A whole
which
one.
Which is only one, yes. But they basically just kind of like felt this horrible thing in their mind where it's just like, it felt like something was ripping Essen and the Kieran apart. And like something was just like clearly not right as they're like coughing and just like sputtering out blood. Pretty much all the party except for Juliet at this point wakes up and like they're kind of just like trying to figure out what the hell's happening. They try to heal Essen, but like as they heal Essen, like the pain fades for like a second before like it immediately starts like coughing up blood again. Eventually they wake up Juliet, but as soon as Juliet's kind of woken up, it's been like 5 minutes at this point, and they are slowly beginning to stop like coughing and like sputtering out blood. As they're just kind of like lying, staring at the fucking sand, just like all the blood they've coughed out. Yeah, so I think then at this point you had an idea if you want to explain.
I honestly had no fucking idea what the hell was going on. I was like, why the fuck is this happening? Like, okay, weirdo, why are you coughing blood? But whatever. So at that point I asked you, I'm like, hey, is there any way I can, like, you know, go into the spirit world, like fucking Avatar The Last Airbender and talk to the Kieran and see what the fuck's going on? And you're like, yeah, sure, I guess.
This is absolutely out of fucking left field, had no like plans or intentions for this whatsoever. I'm like, okay, sure, because my intention was like, mysterious illness for now, and then when you guys get into Soliana, you eventually schedule Essen into like a proper doctor's appointment, and the doctor explains like what I was going to reveal. But no, I mean, like, you guys have sped up things a little bit here.
Juliet is now a doctor.
Yeah. So you head into the spirit realm, and like you tap basically into Essen's mind, meditating with him. And as you do, you basically kind of look up into this giant, like, tree in Essen's mind. And as you look into the tree, there seems to be, like, the Kieran, who is sitting inside of there. And you are currently, like, in your, like, full, like, fox form, right?
Yes, so her Kitsune form is, like, an actual, like, giant fox that's like, all red and has, like, white markings on it. And she only has one tail because she's only 122, 23, something like that. So every 100 years, she gains a tail. And I remember the Essence player describing where we were, like this huge tree. You couldn't see the top, you couldn't see the bottom, like these giant branches. And there was the Kieran just chilling in one of the branches, but like was bleeding profusely. And I was like, yo, what the fuck? What's happening?
Yeah, so you kind of rolled like some Arcana checks there and end up like succeeding on them, and you kind of figured out like, oh shit, what apparently is happening here is that like every kind of like person has like a well of life force that they have, and as people like progress through their lives, like that well of life force just begins to slowly like run out. What's currently happening with Essen and the Kieran is that the two of them are both like consuming life force meant for like just one person. So effectively like Essen's life force is burning out extremely quickly. And from what you were able to tell, if this keeps going linearly and like the Essen and the Kieran just like continue to consume their life force at the same rate, Essen might only have 8 months to live tops. However, if things go bad and like Essen keeps using the Kieran form and like more of the Kieran powers and abilities, it's going to keep like consuming life force more and more quickly, and Essen at that point might only have 2 months to live, and if it's all strenuous activity.
And I immediately was thinking the worst. I'm like, oh my god, he only has 2 months to live. There's no fucking way. So I DM'd you. I'm like, I have an idea. So
Yes.
in Japanese culture, well, in Asian culture, I should say, I'm not sure if it's just strictly Japanese, cutting your hair is a symbolism of leaving your old life behind. Like, you are starting anew. This is your new life. Well, I thought, hey, if I cut off my hair and gave it to the Kieran, would I give him half of my life force?
Yeah.
And you were like, what the fuck?
Yes, because again, never in a million years would I have like expected this, but like, I have to let you try clearly because that's so fucking good and so fucking insane, especially just because like in the last like episode, Juliet's just been spiraling. Just absolutely non-stop. Bad decision after bad decision after argument. It's not been a good day for her. But like, just this one tiny thing that, well, I guess not one big thing that she can do to like redeem herself. I mean, it would be such like a poignant moment for Juliet to kind of show like she's a dumbass and a shitty person sometimes, but like when it really comes down to it, like, she's a person people can rely on.
I think she did it just to prove to not only herself but to everybody else, like, look, I can do good. I'm not just here to fuck everything up. Like, I want to help, but she's just bad at showing how she can help. Like, she puts her skills in the wrong places sometimes, but like, she's been learning like from day one, like, where she can finally put her skills in the right places.
Yeah. And so what I absolutely love about Juliet's arc so far is that, like, as you, like, progress through the campaign, like, there's a very clear difference from Juliet's Session 1 to Juliet now, where, like, Juliet's shown a lot more maturity compared to, like, Session 1 Juliet.
Yikes. Yeah, split up. Nah, I'll just go right here.
Relatively.
But anyway.
Relatively.
You know.
We're getting there. We're getting
there. But when this happened, you were like, you know there's gonna be fucking consequences in this, right? And I was like, yup, I wanna do it. Let's go.
Yeah, it's like, I'm fully making sure that Izzy knew, like, this could have some, like, ridiculously serious consequences to it. I allowed her to go through with it, and the Kieran and Essen took half of Juliet's life force.
Which is 500 years, by the way, because Kitsune live for about 1,000 years, and then they can ascend into godhood.
Yeah. And so I kind of explained to you, like, yes, this is very good, but, like, it's not a direct one-to-one transfer, because, like, someone else can't necessarily just use, like, your life energy, because your life energy is made for you. So you effectively gave Essen, a handful of years. It's now a maximum of 5 years if it's that same linear path. It could be as short as the 1 or 2 years though if Essen's like extremely going through extremely strenuous energy usage.
And then at that point, Kieran was like, what? And I was like, just take it for Essen, not you. I don't give a shit about you. Because I stabbed you, bro. Like,
and then Kieran fucking bowed to you in respect.
Yeah, I'm like, hell yeah, me and Boondock fucking getting the Kieran's respect one by one. And then when she opened her eyes and came to, she looked like shit. And she also had a haircut. And Boondock and Morgan were like, what the fuck? And I was like, hey, I needed a haircut. Sup?
Cool.
And then Essen also asked Kieran, like, what the fuck did she just do? And I was like, you better not say a goddamn word. And the Kieran was like, just know that you should keep her close. And that was all he said, I think.
No, actually, he very specifically said, so, like, Essen very specifically asked, was the price she paid, would I not want her to pay that price? And the Essen the Kieran very specifically said, I can assure you that the price that, if Juliet hadn't gone through with this, you would cause her infinitely more grief than, if Juliet hadn't gone through with this. I can assure you that, like, you wanted Juliet to kind of go through with this, because otherwise you're just going to be causing her so much heartache. And so Essen kind of accepted that as an answer, but just, like, was still kind of sketched out about that whole thing.
Yeah, it was a kind of, like, oh shit moment for everybody.
Yeah. And I think that was the point, though, where, like, Essen kind of realized, like, when Kieran said, like, keep her close, because, like, Essen originally kind of thought, like, well, she's a very, like, close friend of mine, and, like, maybe, like, there could be something else. I think that's the first one where Essen starts to think of, like, if I can marry this girl, or, like, if I can just, like, maintain a friendship with her for, like, a lifetime, I will do so.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, so it was just, like, a ridiculously sweet moment that came out of absolutely fucking nowhere, which is why I just appreciate you guys so much for just, like, tossing out these weird, strange ideas, because, like, I would never have expected that, like, Juliet, like, I didn't expect it to be such a mechanic where, like, Juliet can tap into the spirit realm and, like, understand these, like, things with it and kind of manipulate magic in order to, like, talk to spirits and stuff, but, like, it's slowly become that because, like, you have a higher Arcana score and you can manipulate magic in that way.
Yeah, I mean, and it kind of makes sense because she is a Kitsune, and not only a Kitsune, but a phantom rogue, which has to deal with, like, spirits and shit, and I was like, you know what, this would make sense because Kitsune are, like, trickster gods who can, like, go from, like, realm to realm, you know, as, like, messengers and stuff, so I'm like, this makes sense.
Yeah, no. It was really nice. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, so after that point, I believe Juliet then kind of stumbled off with Hops trying to just, like, get some air as Essen kind of looked onwards, and I believe that's kind of where we decided to end that session, because...
He also mentioned to Boondock, which I think was really cool, was if it ever came between him or Juliet to save one of them, to save Juliet, and Boondock was like, what the fuck, no, we're saving everyone. Who are you? What's going on?
Yeah, no, Boondock kind of said, like, it won't come to that, but, like, did Essen, like, press Boondock anymore about that, or?
I think Essen knew Boondock had such a strong resolve that he just kind of didn't argue with him after that. He was just like, okay, I will believe you for now, but just in case things happen. And Boondock's like, nope, okay, we're gonna go back to sleep. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, so then everyone passed out because it's been a bit of a trying night with a lot of things happening.
So, what my consequences were, I had a -1 in my constitution. Well, a -1 in my constitution, which made it 0. 3 levels of exhaustion.
The -1 in constitution made your 0 a -1. So, like,
oh, you're right.
Your
you're
health
right. Yeah.
was extremely low. Like,
yeah,
there was a lot
Squishy
of monsters
rogue,
that could one-tap you.
Even
yeah.
squishier. Yeah. Oops. 3 levels of exhaustion. My health was super fucking low now. Yeah. I was fucked over, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Now Essen can live. Kind of.
But yeah, no, just holy shit. Because, like, I even, like, mentioned the consequences to you, like, it's also gameplay consequences, like, -1 constitution, like, the big levels of exhaustion there, like, absolutely sure you want to go through it, and then you were just like, yeah, absolutely. So, like, what was in your mind as a player where you were like, absolutely, even if there's, like, gameplay consequences and, like, it could ruin my character or even, like, get Juliet killed, what was going through your mind where you're like, absolutely, I'll sacrifice that?
When I am, like, role-playing as Juliet, or I'm thinking in Juliet's, like, mindset, I'm not thinking gameplay mechanics. I'm really not. I'm thinking, what would she do in this? Like, after this huge spiral of turmoil and bad decisions, and she pretty much thought everybody kind of hated her for doing all of that shit. What would something she could do to like prove to them, look, I can be good. I'm not a bad person. That would be it. Like, and what's a really sad thought too is ever since she left her home, she never really thought that she could live up to anything anyway. Like, she didn't think that her life was worth anything to anybody until she met them and Cass. But Cass is the only exception, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just thought it was super interesting too because like, you got so into the roleplay that like there was in-game consequences for this, but like you were totally fine with accepting them because the only reason the only like reward you would get out of this is good roleplay. Like,
yep. It
was literally just an in-character decision, because I straight up also kind of just, like, said, like, hey, this is a very good moment, but I also just want you to know, like, I'm not gonna, like, I'm going to give Essen a chance to, like, do things about that short lifespan before they, like, reach it. But Essen's not just gonna die of life energy.
Die, yeah.
Yeah. And so you said, like, yeah, no, I know about that, but, like, still just in the moment, as this character, Juliet would not do anything else besides that. And so I said, yeah, no, absolutely.
Like, even looking back at it, I'm, like, trying to think, how would I even do that differently? I don't think I could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, there's no way that she would have done that differently.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no. Kind of threw a couple of my plans into the air, but, like,
wow, it's like, that's my job, Shiva.
But it worked out, because, like, we got our interesting moments out of there. But yeah, anything else you want to talk about related regarding this episode, and especially the big decision there, or?
Down the road, this has consequences.
Yeah.
I kind of liked how this happened, too, because it really gave us, like, a different thing to work with Juliet, with tapping into the spirit world. Like, later on in the episodes, it'll explain, like, the stupid eye shits that we meet. Fuckers. I still don't like them. More, like, things to deal with, like, with the Kitsune race. Like, I didn't really know what to use for, like, this Kitsune homebrew. Like, what kind of things I could pull from, like, different, like, you know, anime I've seen, or, like, Japanese lore I've read up on. Like, I didn't know really what to pick and choose from, but, like, this I felt right, especially because she's, like, a phantom rogue.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's a very good niche for you to, like, fall into in the party, is being able to figure out these things with the spirit realm, and, like, it gives me so many more, like, plot hooks to work with, because, like, if I start doing, like, spooky things with that, you especially can investigate, like, not just as, like, your perspective, but also, like, as a Kitsune, you might have, like, more insight onto these things, and I really enjoyed that. Well, yeah. So, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. Yeah, so I believe at this point, our Draw Senior style should be over by the time this episode comes out, but besides that, we still have our Patreon linked in the description. We are also keep on doing our recap episodes too. Those are going to be coming out like every Wednesday or so. We're our new like narrator for that. It's super, super good. Really proud of those. Make sure to check out Elliot's stuff, also linked in the description on YouTube. But yeah, do you have anything else?
Hot Springs episode next. Heck yeah. Okay, and we're all still sus of Shivam. That's it. PhoenixChat, let's go.